السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كتاب الذبائح. قال الزكاة شرط حل الذبيحة لقوله تعالى إلا ما ذكيتم، ولأن بها يتميز الدم النجس من اللحم الطاهر، وكما يثبت بها الحل تثبت بها الطهارة في المأكول وغيره، فإنها تنبئ عنها. ومنه قوله عليه الصلاة والسلام: زكاة الأرض يبسها، وهي الاختيارية كالجرح فيما بين اللبة واللحيين.
جيد، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا من الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم، وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بمعرفتك، واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك، واحفظنا أنزل المخاطئ في بيان مرادك، آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كتاب الذبائح. Dhabaih is the plural of the word dhabiha. Dhabiha is, as you probably know, the fa'il of fa'ul scale is used for ismul fa'il and ismul maf'ul. It can be ismul fa'il or ismul maf'ul. So dhabiha here is in the meaning of ismul maf'ul, which is that thing or that animal specifically which is sacrificed. Dhabaha yadbahu, to slaughter, to sacrifice, to cut. So dhabiha a madbuha, and dhabaih is the plural of it. قال الزكاة شرط حل الذبائح وحل ذبيحته. المصنف إمام مرغيناني رحمة الله عليه، نفعنا الله بعلومه وعلوم مشايخنا وبكم, says that zakat, to slaughter, is a condition for the permissibility of an animal. In other words, for an animal which the Sharia has allowed us to consume, for that animal to become permissible for us to eat, it has to be slaughtered in the way prescribed by the Sharia, and the details will come in front. Why? لقوله تعالى, because of the statement of Allah Ta'ala, إِلَّا مَا ذَكَّيْتُمْ. So prior to this, Allah Ta'ala mentioned all those animals which are impermissible, and those things which are impermissible. حُرِمَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةُ وَالدَّمُ and so forth. إِلَّا مَا ذَكَّيْتُمْ, except for that animal which you sacrifice, which you slaughter. So that's the نقلي دليل. عقلي دليل ولأن بها يتميز الدم النجس من اللحم الطاهر. Because through sacrificing and slaughtering the animal, the impure blood is separated, distinguished from the pure meat. And so there's a lot of dirt in the blood, whether it be animal blood or human blood. There are certain harmful elements in the blood. So when a person slaughters the animal, cuts the neck, all of that impure blood comes out. And the experiments have been done on this as well. Within 2 or 3 seconds of slaughtering, cutting in the manner that the Sharia has told us, the animal falls unconscious. And the animal falls unconscious, and within 5 to 7 seconds, it dies. The heart keeps on beating though, after the animal is dead, basically. The heart keeps on beating, but obviously it's trying to, it's sort of spasms because of the loss of blood. But as it beats faster, more blood is expelled because of the beating of the heart. Because as you know, the heart consists of 2 chambers, one through which the blood enters and the one through which the blood exits. So by it starting to beat faster, more blood is expelled. So all of that impurity, which is mixed with the flesh is formed from the blood, so it is connected to the blood. But by it being slaughtered in that manner, all of that blood it comes out. Okay? So whatever is left behind, the little bit that we see sometimes when we cut the animal, that blood is not harmful because it's not flowing blood. So all the harmful blood flows out. And this was also, we see the benefit of it. Like, I don't know if you can remember a few years ago, they had an issue with this mad cow disease and so forth. Well, the main reason for that was because those animals were not slaughtered according to Sharia. What they do is they stun the animal, they shoot a bolt into the brain of the animal, killing the animal. And that's how they. So as a result of which, the blood congeals. It stays inside, it congeals, and contaminates the flesh. So because of that, anyone who eats that flesh you get all kinds of diseases. And sometimes, like what they were using that ball, so the brain matter goes into the blood. So it goes into the blood. So as a result of which, a lot of people contracted this mad cow disease. So a lot of wisdom in this, slaughtering the animal. So outwardly, it looks now crude or barbaric, to use the word that the non-Muslims like to use was, but it is actually a great rahmah for the animal. And it is also the best way to purify the flesh of the animal. صحيح. وكما يثبت به الحل يثبت به الطهارة. Now, in our madhab, Hanafi madhab, by you slaughtering any animal, understand, irrespective of whether it's ma'akul laham or not, that animal becomes tahir as well. وكما يثبت به, and like that, through this dhabaha, through the slaughtering, the tahara of the animal also becomes established fil ma'kuli wa ghayrihi, in those animals which is permissible to consume and others. Otherwise, animals which are not permissible to consume. Obviously, the flesh remains haram, you can't eat it, but everything else becomes clean. And so, for example, if you took a lion and said, Bismillah, go and slaughter the lion, and for example, uh, then by slaughtering it in that manner, or by using the other method of slaughter, which will come in front, the skin and everything else becomes permissible for you to use. You don't have to process the skin, dry it and so forth. Sorry, it becomes clean. You don't have to process it, uh, tan it and so forth for it to be permissible and clean for you to use. Understood that? So there's a difference between permissibility to consume uh, and tahara. So there's the difference between halal, tayyib to eat, and tahara. Understood that? Do you understand that?
شكرا.
جي. فإنها تنبئ عنها. Why? Because the word zakat is indicative, informs us of that. The word zakat has the same meaning as zakah, or the za. Zakat, one of the meanings is, as you know, tazkiyah, to purify. So zakat and tazkiyah also means to purify or to clean. So that word itself informs us that it has a cleansing effect on the animal that is slaughtered. ومنه قول عليه الصلاة والسلام, and another dalil is زكاة الأرض يبسها, the cleanliness or the purification of the earth is it becoming dry. Meaning that if any impure substance was to fall into the earth, if it is dried by the sun, whatever, the wind, then that earth becomes clean. Not for tayammum though. It becomes clean for you can make salah on it. But you can't use it for tayammum purposes. So that is the call zakat ikhtiyari. So there are two. Naya says there. So that is the dalil and the proofs for slaughtering the animal and the wisdom behind it, and that it becomes permissible for you to eat the animal, and also if it's a non-permissible animal to eat, then the animal becomes pure. Both of them become pure. They become clean. Now is mentioning the types of zakat. وهي اختيارية. So it is either ذكاء اختيارية, meaning um, where you are in control of the animal, so you have full control of the animal. So you are slaughtering the animal through choice of your own volition. كالجرح فيما بين اللبة والإحياء. And this is by slaughtering the animal, so causing an injury, meaning slaughtering it, in the area between the labba. The labba is the area of the neck right above the two. If you put your hand on your neck at the bottom, you can feel two bones on the side. Those are your collarbones, right? So the area directly in line with that, the area of the neck, directly in line with those collarbones, that is the labba. Okay. And lihyain, if you go up now to the top of your neck, you can feel your lower jawbone, and right and left. Yes. So the area just below that of the neck, that's the lihyain. Okay, that's why the lihya, the beard is called lihya, because it is on the lower jawbone, on the jawbone. Okay, that's why it's called the lihya, because the lihyain, the jawbones, is covered by the beard. Okay, that's it. So the kat ikhtiyariya is where you slaughter the animal over which you have complete control, and you slaughter the animal in between this area. So in any part of that part of the neck. There's a ikhtilaf in this, but this seems to be the rajih call, and this seems to be the opinion that Imam Marghina is inclined towards. As slaughtering the animal in any part of that will render the animal permissible. واضطرارية, and the second time is اضطرارية, out of necessity, or out of volition. وهي الجرح في أي موضع كان من البدن, and this is to injure the animal in any part of the body that is possible. And so this will refer to game animals and so forth, where obviously they won't allow you to catch them and hold them down, and you're now forced to obviously hunt them. So causing an injury with a spear or a sword, whatever, in any part of the body, which allows for the blood to come out, that will be also be permissible. So obviously, it's a bow and arrow and so forth. والثاني كالبدل عن الأول. However, he's saying that اضطرارية, the second type, is a substitute for the first. Why? لأنه لا يصار إلا عند العجز عن الأول. Why? Because you cannot revert to the second type unless you are incapable of the first type. So as far as possible, we'll always prefer the first type ikhtiyariya over the second type. Yes, in those instances where you're unable to, then you are helpless, you cannot, then, like I say, in the case of game and so forth, obviously they won't even allow you near them. Then you can refer to the second type, which is ittirariya. So ittirariya is a substitute. It cannot be, you can't, for example, shoot a cow or a sheep with a bow and arrow or something like that. So that won't be Muslim, because you can apply and the first type of zakat. Okay? So just like tayammum, you can't make tayammum unless you're unable to make the wudu, then only. So in the same way, because it's the battle of wudu. So in the same way, the zakat ittirariya is a badal, a substitute for the first. Can only be referred to in case the first one is not possible. وهذا آية البدلية, this is an indication, meaning that you can't go to it unless the first one is not possible. This is a sign, as an indication toward it being badaliyah, toward it being a substitute and not the asl. وهذا لأن الأول أعمل في إخراج الدم. Why so? Because the first type is more effective. أعمل is more تفضيل, is more effective in removing the blood. والثاني أقصر فيها, and the second type is not as effective in removing the blood. فاكتفى به, so therefore we will suffice with the first, with the second one, sorry, اضطراري عند العجز عن الأول, only when we are unable to apply the first type. إذ التكليف بحسب الوسع. Why? Because you are only mukallaf, you are only obligated in accordance to your ability. If you can't do something, then Sharia doesn't compel you or oblige you to do that. ومن شرطي, right? Now the other conditions, that was the first condition, right? It cannot be slaughtered. Now the second type of condition, this is with reference to the dhabih, the person slaughtering the animal. So that was with regards to the animal itself. Now what about the person slaughtering? There are certain conditions for the person slaughtering the animal as well. Number one, أن يكون الذابح صاحب ملة التوحيد, that the slaughterer must belong to a religion that believes in Tawheed, must belong to a monotheistic religion. Okay? إما اعتقادا, either for real, then that it really does believe in only one Allah, كالمسلم, like a Muslim, أو دعوة, or claims to do so. Then كالكتابي, like the people of the book. And then they claim to be monotheistic, even though the Christians more especially, they've got the Trinity and so forth. Right? So that belief was already existing in the time of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and when the Quran was revealed, yet the Quran allowed and told us that we allowed to eat their slaughtered animals. Okay, obviously this will
Okay.
refer to a proper Christian and Jew, not one nowadays what they call themselves, that they consider it to be a what you call, especially with the Yahud, they consider it to be a ethnic thing rather than a religious thing. So you can be an atheist and be a Jew and belong to the Jewish faith. Understand? But you're an atheist, or you are what you call this, anything else, and Buddhist and everything else. And some of the Christians nowadays, what they call themselves nominal Christians or non-practicing Christians. That doesn't apply. Understand? That not that such a person will not be considered to be a Christian or a Jew or a Kitabi. وأن يكون حلالا خارج الحرام على ما نبينه إن شاء الله. And second condition is that obviously supply more to a Muslim, that the slaughter be halal, meaning he must be not be in a state of he must not be a muhrim. He must not be in a state of ihram. مثلا if the ihram for Hajj or Umrah, whatever the case is. And number three, خارج الحرم, outside of the sanctified area. That outside of the area which has been demarcated as haram, it must be outside of that area, irrespective of whether it is in ihram or not, as we will explain shortly. Understood that?
Sure.
So mustn't be in ihram and must be outside of the haram, irrespective of whether you are in ihram or not. قال وذبيحة المسلم والكتاب حلال لما تلونا. And the slaughtered animal of both a Muslim and a people of the book is permissible لما تلونا, because of the ayat which we read. إلا ما ذكيتم, then the other is saying إلا ما ذكيتم, it's ولقول تعالى, and also because of the statement of Allah Ta'ala or declaration of Allah Ta'ala, وطعام الذين أوتوا الكتاب حل لكم, and the food of the people who were given the book is permissible for you in ta'am here. But the consensus of the ulama obviously doesn't refer to normal food, because their grapes, whether they grow the grapes or we grow the fruit, doesn't matter. There's no question of permissibility there with regards to fruit or veg or wheat or any of those things. So the only thing it can possibly refer to, can't refer to fish also, because we are not required to slaughter it. So they're not required to slaughter it. So if you buy a fish from a non-Muslim, there's no question of permissibility and impermissibility. So the only thing that ta'am can refer to for it to make sense is the slaughtered animal. You follow?
Sure.
They can't refer to any other food, not fruit, not veg, not anything else which doesn't require slaughtering, like grains, whatever the case may be. Right. Another condition of the ذابح, ويحل إذا كان يأكل التسمية. And it will be permissible if the slaughterer understands the tasmiyah, meaning it is able to read the tasmiyah, understand what it's reading and why it's reading it. And so it can be a child also, but if it is a child that understands meaning a young person that understands what he's saying and why he's saying it, then it will be permissible. So age being of majority is not a condition and for this. والذبيحة يأكل التسمية والذبيحة يضبط وإن كان صبيا, and he knows how to slaughter well. He or she knows how to slaughter well. So they understand والذبيحة يضبط, right? He knows how to, he or she understands the tasmiyah, know what they're saying, and they know how to slaughter well. They're not going to make a mess of it. Then it's fine. وإن كان صبيا أو مجنونا أو امرأة, even if it be a child, a minor, أو مجنون, or if it be a, yeah, مجنون doesn't mean a mad person who's completely insane, doesn't know what he's saying, because in يعقل doesn't know. It won't make sense to say يعقل تسمية and يثبت التبيحة. You won't be able to do that. So yeah, مجنون means like what we were saying in today's time. The person is a little mentally challenged, right? Special needs, okay? Special needs, but not completely insane. You follow?
जी,
Or even if it be a child or a person of mentally challenged or a female, that's not a condition in these masail. إما إذا كان لا يثبت ولا يعقل, if he is unable to slaughter, well, doesn't know how to slaughter, irrespective of age, big or be a young or old, and doesn't understand the tasmiyah, understand والذبحة لا تحل, then it's not permissible. لأن التسمية على الذبيحة شرط من الناس. Why? To recite Bismillah upon the slaughtered animal is a condition proven by Nas, proven by the text of the Quran. وذلك بالقصد, and you can only read the Bismillah with intentionally, by intention. وصحة القصد بما ذكرنا, and your cost, your intention will only be correct based on what we mentioned in the what we mentioned earlier. The sense that you must be able to understand. If he doesn't understand, how is he going to make the niyyah? If he doesn't understand what he's doing, how is he going to make the niyyah? How is he going to say Bismillah? والأقلف والمختون سواء لما ذكرنا. Aqlaf is a person who hasn't made uncircumcised, right? And an uncircumcised and a circumcised person is the same, meaning that it doesn't matter if the person is uncircumcised because of what we mentioned, saying that the ayat is general, and because the Quran says طعام الذين أوتوا الكتاب, and many of them don't circumcise, especially Christians nowadays, they don't circumcise. So this is possibly mentioning this because there is an opinion, I think, of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, I think it is, radiallahu anhu, who says that an uncircumcised person's tabi'ah is not permissible. So it's possible that he's making an ihtiraz from that particular opinion. Allah alam. وإطلاق الكتاب ينتظم الكتاب الذمي والحربي والعربي والتغلبي. And by mentioning the word kitabi in general, mutlaqan, will include both a kitabi who is a dhimmi, meaning he is a non-Muslim citizen in a Muslim country, and a non-Muslim citizen of a Muslim country, a dhimmi, wal harbi, a non-Muslim citizen of a non-Muslim country whom we are at war with. It will be permissible to use also or us also. Wal Arabi, and whether it be a kitabi and of Arab origin, or Taghlibi, or whether it belongs to the Banu Taghlib. Banu Taghlib, they were the, what you call, Arab tribe, but they were close to the Romans. They were allies of the Romans. As such, most people saw them as Christians at Banu Taghlib. So even though they might be of Arab origin, their dhabiha also will be permissible as well. So, like today, nowadays, you get a lot of Arabs, Egypt and even Palestine and so forth, were Christian. So there's no problem with that. Okay, understood that? لأن الشرط قيام الملة على ما مر. Why? Because the condition is that the person's monotheism must be established. as long as they claim monotheism or truly believe in monotheism as the Muslims do, that is sufficient. You understood that?
Okay.
Anything you didn't understand? Any questions?
So all of this will be only before times, not now. Huh? Because none
Maaf?
of the people, I say, none of the Christians and Jews and people of the book, they're not the proper ones anymore. Huh?
No, they
They,
are still are, still
they're
are.
still
But
finding
you
it.
obviously you need to know that they actually did. They are. You need to know that the person who did it is actually a proper Christian. So it will refer to today's Christians as well. But like I say, the ones that are practicing, not the non-practicing one or the ones that have become atheists.
Okay.
Okay, even though they still refer to themselves as Christians, they become atheists. They don't believe in any God. Okay, they just
Okay.
for appearance sake they say we're Christian or Jew, whatever. Okay.
Okay.
Mm. Okay, inshallah. Subhanallah, bihamdihi, subhanakallah, bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.